eyes and ears in the room. The eyes and ears for the console itself. So I'm going to show you the fidelity of those eyes and ears first. So you're seeing yourself in 3D vision now. If you want to bring your hands up, you can see your individual fingers. You can see the wrinkles in your shirt. I can see your collar there. I can see your individual facial features. The fidelity of the sensor is about 3 times better than it was in the first Kinect. You can also get much closer if you want to take a couple steps closer. You can see that you get much closer to the sensor. We have a taller vertical field of view. So we'll work in smaller living rooms with less furniture moving. We also have a wider field of view. So if you want to step back towards the sofa, you can see you don't have to be directly in front of the TV. You can go pretty far to the right or left and still be in the field of view. So that's the improved 3D fidelity and our depth vision across a much bigger area. We also have a 2D color camera. Right? So we have a 1080p color screen now, higher fidelity. You can really visualize the field of view here. You can see this entire living room is effectively in the field of view. So you can be sitting anywhere in the room with a 1080p signal, having a great Skype experience. The one challenge with color feeds is that they're susceptible to changes in room lighting. So we're going to bring down the room lights to show that.
Can you go back to the 3D thing for just a sec?
Sure. Want to leave the lights on for a moment?
Just want to get the...
Oh, and we'll have time at the end for all of you to get in front of the sensor, take some photos. We'll have time to play around with it.
Perfect.
So you often like to game in the dark. You might watch a movie in a dimly lit room. So we're going to simulate that. We're going to bring down the room lights. And you'll see that this color image isn't really useful anymore. Right? It's completely washed out with a lack of room light. So we have a new technology we call Active IR. I'm going to turn that on now. And you can see that the sensor, we've got a whole view of the living room here with Active IR, completely in the dark. But the Active IR technology does more than just see in the dark. It can also filter out the room light. And so a good way to simulate that, I've got a flashlight here. I'm going to go back to the color feed, and we're going to pretend this was a room lamp, and you're being side lit. And you can see how you can only see half your face there. Really hard to recognize who's in the room. Backlit. When we go to Active IR, you see that's completely filtered out. Right, so all of the room lighting is removed, and we get this very consistent image. Great for computer vision applications like identifying who's in the room. You want to turn the lights on for me again? Okay, so I think that's part A. Thank you for being my first volunteer. So that's the vision system in Kinect. I also want to talk about the microphone system, its ability to hear in the room. Now, the most challenging scenario for us is the gamer sitting on the couch 4 meters away. He's got the game soundtrack cranked really loud, 5.1 surround sound, and he's holding a controller and issuing speech commands. We've got to pick out those speech commands in that noisy room. So I'm going to play you a recording of that scenario. It was done with this Kinect sensor, and you're going to hear just a raw input from one of the microphones. And if you listen closely, you can hear the speech commands, but it's really hard to pick it out with all that game noise going on. Now I'm going to play the same recording with our audio processing turned on. This uses the full microphone array, and you'll hear us focus and remove the game noise.
Delta Squad, move left. Delta Squad, take cover. Mortar guard, on my right. Rally to checkpoint Bravo.
You see we filtered out all the game soundtrack, removed the room noise, and focused just on what the player was saying. So that's the eyes and ears of Kinect. Now I'm going to shift over and talk about the platform that we built on top of that signal. So we need another volunteer now. There we go. Great. You willing to get a little active in front of the sensor?
Well, kind of.
There we go. Awesome. So our first capability is skeletal tracking. We introduced skeletal tracking.
Cool.
You guys are a little bit in the field of view.
Yeah.
I want to take a step back.
I'm out, I think.
Closer. There you go. Yeah, there you go. You're fine there. So here you are in the skeletal tracking. We've taken that high definition 3D vision and made a much higher fidelity skeleton model as well. So we can see subtle movements. We can see a lean in your spine. If you want to give us a little leaning, you can see a shrug in the shoulders. You notice there you can see the tip of your hands and your thumbs. Right? So we can see pinching, we see rotation of your hands. All of that's represented. We see much more subtle movement of your body.
Cool.
Now on top of the skeleton, we can also see orientation. So this is what we call boxman. So as you rotate your arms, rotate your legs, you can see all of that movement captured. Yeah, you've noticed even with your head. So the direction that you're looking as your head moves around, we can see how your head is orientated in the room.
Cool.
Much higher fidelity of movement. Think of it going from gesture-based interaction to true analog movement. Now we've combined these with a physics model to understand force of movement. So I'm going to turn on what we call Muscle Man. And Muscle Man, you're seeing a couple things here. One is the colors. The colors are showing how much force is in the various parts of your body. So if you shift your weight from one foot to the other, you'll see that you're loading more force on one leg than the other leg. Like if you jump up in the air, you see while you're mid-air, you're green.
Yeah.
You're unloaded. When you land, the force is redistributed back through your legs. You see the little bulges there. If you kind of squat down a little bit, you see your thighs bulge out. That's showing the torque that's being applied through your body. And then if you want to make some punches at the sensor towards the screen, you see those white circles. That's how much force you're applying. If you actually put your back into it and shift your weight, you'll see a much bigger force being applied.
Ah.
So we can see your weight transfer. We can see how much force is being applied through your punch.
Lots of like an accelerometer reading of some sort. I mean,
It's really a physics model on top of your movement.
Yeah.
So we can see how much weight's being applied. We can see the transfer of weight, the transfer of movement. Now, for fitness, exercise applications, it's also helpful to understand your heart rate.
What are you saying?
So, if I get you to take one step forward,
Yeah.
and for this part, stand still, just face the sensor, and we're going to actually measure your heart rate. And we're doing this by looking at your face and seeing the fluctuation of blood flow through your face. Not visible to the human eye, but it's visible to the sensor using RGB and IR. And we're able to measure your heart rate as the blood flows through your face. Great for, again, exercise, fitness applications, exertion in games. And then finally, we have what we call player info. So you're a guest on this system. You right now have a neutral expression. If you give us a smile, we'll know that you're happy.
Yay.
You're also engaged. You're facing the system. If you look away, maybe have a conversation with your colleague over here or check your cell phone.
So, how are you?
You'll go to no on engaged. Come
Yeah.
back. It goes right back to yes.
Cool.
For this demo, I'm going to join you. This controller's a little finicky. I'm going to go to this one wireless. There we go. I'm going to join you with this controller.
Okay.
And a couple things. First, it knows who I am. It says
cool.
that I'm Scott. I'm going to hand you the controller.
Okay.
And now it sees that I've handed you controller 2 and shows that you're holding it.
Control shoot.
That one's still not working. You want to hand it back to me, and it'll show that now I've got controller 2. So we can see who's holding which controller.
Okay.
And then let's change places also.
Okay.
And you see now I've moved to the left side of the screen.
Yeah.
So you can imagine a multiplayer gaming scenario. You're playing on the couch. I want to join in. It already knows who I am, knows what controller I'm holding, knows where I'm sitting in the room. It can split screen. I can join in, no interruption to the gameplay.
And it sends your signal to your side of the
Exactly.
screen? Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, where I'm sitting in the room. And again, the combination of knowing who I am and which controller I'm holding is really what I'm doing.
Cool. Really, really awesome.
Okay, well, thanks for your help on that part of the demo. Now's the fun part, is where we all get to get up and give it a try. So I'm going to bring up